going on, you guys? It is another week in wrestling for the love of wrestling. We're here always every week giving you guys our predictions, our opinions, the hot takes, unless we choose to take a week off, which most times we'll let you guys know ahead of time. But we're here. It is a one of the more important weekends of wrestling in terms of events. We got Money in the Bank brewing. Fyter Fest Night 1 just went down. We just got the return of live crowds with Smackdown last night. Not too much news, but I guess let's dive into it.
Right.
How fucked is Raw when it's their turn on Monday? I'm just saying, the crowd's not gonna let shit go. I'm just saying,
I
like
was gonna say, especially after you're getting two solid nights, so you're getting SmackDown, which was fine,
yeah,
and you're getting Money in the Bank. Like the Monday night crowd's not gonna be as lenient because like they already got the wrestling.
Yeah.
And is it all still in Texas?
Yeah, I think so. I think they were in Houston.
Yeah.
And then I think they're in Fort Worth. Yeah, they're in Fort Worth on Sunday is what they were saying. So
okay.
Which I mean, I'm not like the hugest Texas, aficionado, but I would think, you got the San Antonios and the Houstons and
right.
Austins and all that. You're like, yeah, let's go to Fort Worth for that money match. It's like, oh, okay, whatever. Yeah, I mean, the only thing I could think of, I'm like, Alexa Bliss might get a lot of it at Money in the Bank because I keep forgetting she's in the women's match. So I wouldn't be surprised she gets a little bit of a backlash coming out. I mean, it'll be her first time in front of a live crowd.
I think fans will at least allow the WWE to mess it up first. I think they're gonna.
We usually wait, and we're usually like, oh, they're not usually that far behind when we wait on that. Yeah.
I think like they'll see Alexa Bliss, and then they'll be like, all right, let's wait until she does something before we start just booing her. I think she might get some boos because she's possibly got the worst character in wrestling, but
yeah,
we'll see how because like I don't know if they're gonna do all the supernatural stuff with her back, but I mean, it's not impossible.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen them again try like the giant spider before. I mean, we've seen hits and misses, right? Like we've seen like the giant spider, but then we see, which is more in modern times. But then like when they had less modern technology, they were still doing incredible stuff, like trying to do like the movie magic for the Undertaker and like Kane and stuff like that. Like Kane, I remember Kane threw a fireball one time that literally came out of nowhere. It was done so well that everybody was like, yo, I don't even want to mess with this dude. Now you get people fumbling with whatever it is. It's just like, nah, we can't believe in the fireball anymore. Like it's I don't know, it's crazy.
And the thing is, like the WWE will take chances on doing something stupid, but they won't take chances on messing up production. You know what I mean? Whereas AEW will take a chance on production.
Yeah, I mean, like, if it's like a huge joke type of thing, like Vince is like belly aching, like, oh yeah, let's do, like, yeah, they'll do that in the snap. But it's like, yeah, anything that may be serious, that might be a risk, like you're saying. But it's a make or break, like it could really make someone that's been trying to make or build. Nah, they won't do it. Like it's annoying. But you know what? I will give them credit though, because the segment they had on Monday with Bobby, I don't usually last the full round of Raw. I skip around, but I did like what they were doing. At first, I was like, why did they just have him lose to Xavier Woods? And I ain't got nothing against Xavier Woods, but it was like he lost clean
on the Go Home show.
Yeah, right? And I was like, what? I was like, they usually save that for the guy actually in the match. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like why wouldn't it be Kofi? But I did like how they used that to turn it all around at the end, where he's like, they even let him, drop, I'm done with this bullshit. I was like, oh wow, they actually are. Vince is like, we'll pay for it, let it go. You know what I mean? Okay. It made Bobby look good. I like the promo.
It's risky too, because you're having him lose in the opening segment basically, and then you're having a storyline prolonged 3 hours when people at that point are already losing interest in Raw.
Yeah, I was gonna say that they'll drop off at a certain point for sure, and some of them that's just their routine where they choose to drop off, unless there's something intriguing in the main event. Then they might like channel flip until that last 20 minutes, 15 minutes, whatever it is, graces the screen. But I thought this was a good job by Bobby. Usually we see Bobby have a little bit of trouble with his promos, but he was on game here, dude. Other than that, I mean, I don't have a whole lot of notes from Raw. I mean, I never usually do.
I have a couple things, but I
Yeah,
think
yeah.
when we get into predictions, I'll probably be able to bring them up.
Okay.
So
Yeah,
we don't have
that's
to. Yeah.
I guess the only thing I mean, it's as funny as it is, I mean, we heard about it a couple, I'd say about a year ago, right? With the whole Matt Riddle situation and Seth Rollins and all that.
Mm-hmm.
I had reported it before, but I was talking to my brother. Uh, Apparently they squashed their beef. It was like during like Survivor Series.
Oh,
Because
really?
yeah, they were both in
Okay.
the match. You know, he said he tried to like come up to him before the match, but there were just way too many people trying to figure out the match, so he just kind of waited. And then after the match, he went to go talk to him, and he said initially like a cameraman followed him. And he's like, "Dude, back up! Like this is no, don't film this. This is between me and him." And I was
Mm-hmm.
thinking like, why? Like that's kind of strange that a cameraman like that works for WWE's like, oh, let's capture this. I'm like, dude, calm your tits, dude. Like what the fuck?
Yeah.
But yeah, he said that, you know, he kind of chopped it up with him, said, look, I know something was said that I don't even agree with. I apologize. I apologize on her behalf as well. Like, you know, I know you're a busy dude. You're getting ready to be a dad. Like, I wish you luck with that and good, you know, nothing but luck with you and your wife. And but he just kind of was like, holy crap, like after, you know, everything I heard about you and what to expect, like that wasn't what I expected. And they just kind of kept it at that. And then, you know, but he what he said was, you know, I know we're just two different people, you know, we're not gonna be best friends. You know, I'm not saying that we hate each other, but we don't have to like each other. But he was like, yeah, I could tell you know, we're not gonna be best friends because, you know, I took that what do you say? I took that curb stomp in the Royal Rumble, bro. And I took that stomp at the Royal, like he really put a lot
Mm-hmm.
on it. I was like, oh shit. I was like, all right, you know, but good news in wrestling is always good. You know what I mean?
Right.
We've been plagued with a lot of
It
bullshit for a
seems like
while,
Matt Riddle's never trying to
like intentionally. Yeah, right. Like,
intentionally offend anybody. I think he just sometimes is Matt. I think certain things are said, and since he is Matt Riddle,
yeah,
and
it
like
just the
he's
assumption is like it's like no investigation is just a it's
and
just
people
yeah
just assume he doesn't care. And I
yeah
think that's more so than the things that are actually being said and stuff like that. I think
yeah.
it's
It's like
funny.
and a lot of people can and that's the thing. A lot of people can say a lot about him and not be true, but you know just because of the fact that he like same thing with kind of like Enzo, right? Like Enzo
Mm-hmm.
had a certain reputation for behavior, so anybody could just drop something within the list of real things and they would just believe it, you know. So yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, I like I said, I thought it was kind of cool to hear about that. I mean, everybody was like thinking, oh, they're not going to work with each other, and then like they had the whole Royal Rumble thing, but
And they're gonna work
um,
together this week, so
yeah, for sure. And in the yeah, he's gonna be like, yeah, man, that ladder was kind of you were kind of snug in there, bro. It's like, yeah, I know, bruh. But you know what? We did get Fighter Fest this week, the first night. I thought the crowd was great. Um, there was, I mean, it was a pretty solid show. I didn't, to be honest, with the hype that the coffin match got, I didn't really enjoy it. Um,
I like that AEW will put on a main event that's not a main with a bunch of main event people,
yeah,
but they do it so often now that I don't think it's. See, I would say Darby Allin has been in a solid amount of main events in
yeah.
last
When
year.
I was gonna say when it came to him defending the TNT championship, he definitely would find himself in the main event, like at least 2 or 3 times for sure.
And I'm not saying it's this might just be nitpicking, but it's like you could kind of tell the overall show based on the
Like the
the mid card main event. Like you're like,
yeah
this is
yeah
how this show is going to be. It's going to be very solid. All the main event segments are going to be in the middle somewhere, and then we're going to finish it off with a very solid, good match. But you kind of just tell that's how the difference would be like when like Jungle Boy went against Kenny Omega,
yeah
right?
exactly
Like
yeah. It's a different feel for sure.
so. I'm not saying that, but like the fact that it's Fighter Fest and Fighter Fest is supposed to be like a pay-per-view
Yeah, it's like
caliber
special
TV.
event type of yeah.
The coffin match between him and Ethan Page, you would think would be middle of the night, beginning of the night match, and
True.
you would have more of a main event, which would be like either a TNT Championship match, maybe a Cody Rhodes match.
I was actually surprised that Miro is not booked um
Mm-hmm.
at all to defend that title. Uh for both nights. That's pretty interesting. I did like the match that Hardy and Matt Hardy and Christian had.
And you know, the funny thing is, like, going against everything I just said right now,
Yeah.
they did a lot to promote that match. You think that one would maybe even be like higher
Yeah,
up.
low key, that could have been. I mean, I'm not I mean, looking back at it now as a fan watching it, I probably would have preferred that being the placement because their match A was longer than the main event. B, like, what I didn't like about the coffin match is the fact that most of the action happened during picture in picture and it was just in the crowd. There was like
Right.
not a whole lot going on. I mean, yeah, we got like the big power bomb on the stair spot. But then it's like for Darby to like jump off and freaking throw himself through the coffin out there. I was like, okay, I get it. You know, people are like, it's a coffin match. Why wouldn't the guy who does the coffin drop do a coffin drop instead of so I'm happy? But I'm like, or it just doesn't make sense to do so. Like, you know,
Right.
but yeah, in the frame of main events, I could have easily seen Matt Hardy and Christian main event that. And I think that would have been good because for both their careers, I like their match just because I felt like they brought a different style from what we're used to seeing them from over the years. And they still made it good. Their pacing was great. They didn't look like gas, dude. They were good. They worked really well together. The match was longer than I expected, but I enjoyed it. You know, there was a lot of cool spots that I thought that I was like, I've seen that enough. You know, I mean, what we got Christian hitting the spear finally, right? But all right, whatever. I can gloss over that because they were like I said, they put down a good match. We did get Aleister Black brawling with Cody, which I thought was a good look, just because too many times we just get guys showing up and then they keep him away from all the key players. But the fact that his second night in, him and Cody are brawling the way they are, I like. It reminded me of early TNA days when like they brought Kurt Angle in to brawl with Samoa Joe when he first joined.
Right.
So I was getting some good vibes on that. I
I
mean,
I am really into, but I'll be honest, they could easily disappoint me is if how they're gonna book this Hangman Kenny Omega thing. Because right now, in my opinion, it's my favorite storyline
yeah, I was gonna
in
ask how you felt
AEW.
about how they've been. I mean, I wasn't mad at the fact that he said like, you know, I declared this a year ago and I failed, you know, and I mean, it kind of puts more context into why you're quote unquote spinning out of control with this alcoholism, right? Even though he's never even said like, oh, I failed. Like he just kind of never addressed it ever. But
Right.
I like how they're putting him in the hot seat. The crowd was into it. I don't know if I like the stipulation of how it has to be him in the Dark Order in like a Survivor Series match against like Kenny Omega and the
Is that
Elite.
in Fighter Fest Night 2, or is that gonna be
They
Fight for
didn't.
the
They didn't even.
Fallen?
What I think is it's going to be Fight for the Fallen to set up to
All
Kenny
out.
and Hangman
Okay.
and All Out. Yeah. Which, dude, that bitch sold out before the official date went on sale. Like it's crazy. Like I had like some promo codes for a few friends because I knew I wouldn't be able to make it. I got a wedding that day to go to, but I said it to my like, yeah, it's already sold out. I'm like, what? Next day, completely sold out. I was like, how is it sold out when the tickets go on sale after this report goes on, like officially to everybody? I was like, all right, whatever. But it's a good thing. Wrestling's back in swing, man. We did. Oh, that's the one thing I did want to say. Moxley's back, but they didn't make a big deal that he's back. He like just came back. Like it's like almost like, hey, he's still hurt in AEW universe, but for New Japan universe, he can defend the belt. Like
I think it's weird too. Like I think like they want to use Moxley as a draw, but I think they can't commit to him being part of any stories.
I agree with that. Just I mean, when you think about the fact that because what I told my brother too, I'm like, I mean, he comes in just to defend that belt, but there's no story around it. And I was like, it's kind of weird that, and then even you see Kingston accompany him out, and it's like, all right, yeah, fuck you, Penta. So thanks, but no thanks. I'm back with my real best friend. Like it was weird how they didn't really hype it as a return for Mox. They just said, oh, we got this new championship match against Carl Anderson, which they had a pretty good match too. I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
But I'm with you. I just hope that they do the Hangman thing right. I feel like they've been doing okay so far. Like I said, I don't know if I absolutely need to see the Survivor Series 5-on-5 elimination, but I get what they're doing. They got to space it out. Hopefully they crown him though. I mean, is Hangman the guy to beat Kenny? I mean,
Oh, he has to be the guy to beat the Kenny. It's just a matter of when. Like
I guess
I wouldn't be mad if they had the match at All Out and Hangman lost.
I was gonna say
Like,
like I feel like if anything like I feel like maybe they would have had Kenny hold on to it maybe a little bit longer, like maybe close to like a year from when he first got it in December. But um I'm not mad at it, to be honest. Like he's held it for long. I mean, you know, the thing
let me
is,
ask.
even if he loses that belt, he still has all the other ones, right? So he's like,
Yeah,
not.
he can still have that weird manic heel persona where he's still the belt collector, even though he's not the champion on AEW anymore. Um, Let me ask you this though, especially if like like LA County is now having mask mandates and the Delta variants out there. Do you think like AEW is like, oh, we wanted to have this maybe Hangman lose it all out, but he wins at Full Gear or something, right? But do you think they pulled the trigger on all out and thinking like, hey, we want to do this in front of fans for sure, just in case we have to have another, Daly's Place run shortly after?
Oh yeah, because I've been hearing that as they say, there's been quote unquote due to rises, right? That we all have to
Mm-hmm.
wear them inside again.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's starting today actually at it said starting today at 11:59. I was like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, that's weird. Um, I don't know. Like I see, I don't know. I mean, I just for the sake of like, yeah, let's get this pop in while we can when we have the live crowd. If we have to be, freaking forced to go back to the island in Daly's place. I mean, it makes sense, but I don't know. I don't know.
Like
I
I
mean,
would say, ideally, either there's a screwy finish, or Kenny Omega wins. Let's just say Kenny Omega with the help of the Good Brothers or something wins at All Out.
I was gonna say like what someone pointed out that those guys have had more matches on AEW TV as unsigned talent
Right?
than any of the women this year. I was like, that sucks.
That does suck. And then I would prefer, because it is closer to the year. It wouldn't be exactly a year, but it'd be closer to the year for Kenny Omega if at Full Gear. And I think
I
Full
was thinking
Gear
Full
is the
Gear might
one.
be, yeah, I was thinking the same thing.
That's
Like,
where they had the number one contenders match too, right?
yeah, they had the eliminator. Also, I was thinking that they already have like some history with Full Gear. I mean, the term Full Gear. I mean, not the term Full Gear, but them coming up with the name. It comes from like the inside joke with Hangman. He would always say, "I'm full gear ready. Anytime you need me to wrestle, I'm full gear
Yeah.
ready." So uh, it would be fitting if that's when his crowning moment comes. I mean, All Out I get because that's like their the granddaddy of them all for AEW.
Yeah.
So that also would be equally as good great a moment for him. But to answer your question, long ways, I think I could see them foregoing, wanting to build it up longer and wanting to crown him quicker than as far as trying, like you said, trying to just get that pop in, just because they don't know how the rest of the year is gonna go. Um,
I
I
wouldn't be
gotta
mad if it happens at All Out either, though. I wouldn't be mad. I
no
just
no
think
no
like
yeah no
I just think they could do this, because I think the story going All Out would be, this is the Dark Order kind of like nudging Hangman.
yeah
But I think if he feels like he could beat Kenny at All Out, like let's just say he gets the refs knocked out and he gets a 3 count, you
yeah
know, and he really feels like, oh, I could beat him.
yeah I've already
That's the
beat him,
story
yeah.
going into Full Gear,
Yeah,
like
that which would be good as opposed to him like, damn, I failed again. And then like
right.
him having to find like, well, I'm not scared to fail because every time I fail, I learn type thing. I'm like, dude, let Christian have his promo back. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I one thing I did want to ask you about before I know we inevitably got to move on to the rest of the week. Samoa Joe. I mean, I threw this out there when we first heard about this and I wasn't sure, but I feel like he is secretly clear. I mean, I don't know, like he was special guest referee in the Kross versus Gargano match, and he gets attacked.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if they would have had him do that spot if he wasn't somewhat physically cleared, but then again,
It's a soft spot to have too. I'm not saying it's a soft spot, but like, it's not like he
he's getting
had
dropped on
like,
his head or anything.
yeah,
Yeah,
he's not taking a back bump. He's not. like he's not getting hit in the head in any way. He's just kind of like in a chokehold laying down.
That's true. I mean, and then when I think about it, I'm like, hey, if they can bring Edge in to do a spot with Seth Rollins with the briefcase, and he wasn't like on a no touch zone, you know what I mean, list as far as like he can't do any bumps. Like this shouldn't be too bad. I mean, it surprised me. I thought we were gonna get more staring, but
Well, I think Cross is coming up legitimately in a month, and I think they're like, all right, we
yeah,
wanted to prolong this Joe thing,
yeah.
or they could do.
I mean,
This is tough. I was gonna say an unsanctioned match, right? Where Joe is not cleared, but they're gonna have the match anyways.
yeah, yeah,
But the only problem with that is you would want Cross to maybe drop a title or something if he's
yeah.
gonna go out to the main roster, unless it's I don't know.
The only thing I could see is if he's like, if he says like, if I win, that belt comes with me, and he like, I could see him like laughing it off, like, oh, you're gonna be champ. Like, no, I'm not saying I'm champ. I'm saying that we take back the title that you've been like terrorizing. I don't know. It
For
doesn't
NXT,
sound,
that could be the case. Like he's like, all right, if I win,
and just make it vacant, and
is
they
that
just
the
do
title's
something from
vacant,
there. Yeah,
right? And if you win, you can take the title with you wherever you go.
that's the only thing I'm thinking. Just only because he did make that. He said, "Oh, I only think about three things every day. It's like staying NXT champion, getting to the main roster and main event, or we said main eventing WrestleMania and winning the WWE championship." So I'm like, he didn't say he didn't want to do all three of them separately. He probably, as a character, is like, I'm gonna bring this belt with me up there and still hold everything. You know what I mean?
Also, the draft got pushed back to like October, so maybe
Yeah, I was
Triple
about to
H is like, you
say.
know what, we bought ourselves a month, so you could have the unsanctioned match maybe with Samoa Joe,
Well,
and then still drop the title a month later.
one thing I definitely noticed is the fact that they've been having Joe pretty much kind of like, they've been teasing him with more than one person. So in case one of those guys does go up, at least you have like, other people he can, with the Pete Dunne thing and all that shit.
Adam Cole too.
Yeah, Adam Cole. Yeah, thank you. I was like, I know there's someone else. He like that same night, he like fucked with three different people. And obviously I think that the Pete Dunne thing, it might be going somewhere at some point, because they just keep showing it.
I I wouldn't be surprised if NXT is a very smart brand. Is when Samoa Joe came back in, they're like, basically he's like, hey, I just got cleared from an outside doctor, but I still need to get cleared by the WWE doctor. So Triple H might have been like, you know what, fine, you're basically cleared at this point, but let's still get you cleared by our doctors. But basically, it was like, but let's keep this as a story.
Yeah.
Like, let's just not bring you in to wrestle
I
right
mean,
away.
it could be like how they did with the Daniel Bryan thing. Like
Right.
maybe they knew they had him come in as a general manager, but they had to slowly get to that point instead of, all right, we're taking him out the suit and he's just automatically back on the roster. I mean, because I think about other cases like Kurt Angle, right? He definitely couldn't pass a WWE medical, but they allowed him to wrestle with the Ronda Rousey thing, right? I could see this. I mean, like Shawn Michaels when he came back, that was the whole thing. Like he wrestled Triple H in unsanctioned street fight, hold harmless agreement, because they weren't gonna they weren't gonna sign him off as far as like being physically able to do it. Like they can definitely do it from a standpoint where it's realistic. But I wouldn't be surprised. Like, okay, we know that you're good to go, and we're just going to slowly get you there, because I don't think that they're going to allow someone who's not physically able to be cleared to be a referee either. Because I mean, it's still work being a ref. You're still as much part of the match too. But
I also think like they might just be honest with each other, just like, hey, dude, you're gonna be a part-time guy at NXT. So this is what we're gonna do: is you're not
at
gonna
his
be
age,
cleared.
he wouldn't trip. I don't think he just wants to wrestle, right? Like,
So it was like, hey, right now we're gonna bring you in slowly. So we're gonna have you just have big time matches. So an unsanctioned match of Karrion Kross, right? But he's technically still not cleared. That could still be the story. And then
yeah,
he goes
exactly.
back to being in a suit for 3 to 4 more months, and then he has another match. And it
Yeah.
doesn't have to be unsanctioned. At that point, he could be cleared. But the thing is, they were able to prolong this for at least 7 to 8 months.
Yeah,
And
maybe that's when they pull the trigger on him and Pete Dunne or something.
and then they could write him on TV for something, and then he comes back 3 to 4 months later, and then that you've got 3 solid NXT Samoa Joe matches in a
Shit,
year and
you
a
know
half
what?
span.
I could see him pulling like a I forgot what they used to call him, but like say he gets ran over by a car in the parking lot or something. And then that's why he's gone for like a couple months, and that's why they have him come back. Yeah, maybe say like Adam Cole hit him or something. You know what I mean? Or
Right.
I did it for The Rock. I did it for Stone. You know what I mean? I could see something like that only because I know that that's something that they did with Gargano and Aleister Black at one point with that big whodunit angle, which was actually really creative at the time for them. I could see him doing something like that where, you know, it A forces Joe to be gone, B it forces Joe to come back in a different you know, uniform as far as from going from security guard to man to wrestler, and it'd be a kind of a cool little debut as him as, you know, oh, he's coming like in his gear, or like say he has his gear on with a t-shirt, you know, a new t-shirt on. Crowd will eat that shit up and fucking run the sales up. You know what I mean? But I like it for sure. The other thing I was gonna ask you about, even though it's kind of smaller, but it seemed like the crowd was like really into it. Aaliyah, who's like a NXT like lifer, finally broke away and did something. I don't really have a whole lot to say about it, but it was, like I said, interesting the amount of crowd support and reaction she got. I was like, dude, that's probably the biggest reaction you've ever gotten not being in a match. You know what I mean?
And you're leaving.
Yeah, and that's the thing was like, I was like, wait, who came in and said, oh, we need a Leo on Raw, we're gonna send Mandy back to NXT? Like I didn't get that.
The women's division is the only division where that kind of shit happens.
Yeah,
Where
you're right.
Vince will see someone he kind of likes and will be like, "Oh yeah, let's bring her up." And then us as fans who are part of the universe is like, "Dude, that she hasn't done shit and she's still
Yeah,
developing." You know, like
yeah.
we felt that way with Alexa Bliss. We felt
Nia,
that way with
Nia Jax too. I was really
Dana Brooke.
surprised. Yeah,
Remember when
Dana
Dana
Brooke.
Brooke got
Yeah,
called up like super early?
yeah.
Mandy Rose, I think, was technically
What's
one
her
of
name
them.
too? What's her name? She did the women's right. Lacey Evans.
Yeah,
The one where like,
she had like a solid 6 month run or something there. She was already on the main roster.
yeah, that
And
was
then
ridiculous.
so it's like that doesn't happen in the men's division. Like
No, no. I mean,
if
you know,
Bronson Reed goes up,
yeah,
then we'll probably be like, oh, that's the first male that I feel like Vince saw and was like, outside of like probably really tall big guys who they're
yeah.
not even developing, right? But like Bronson Reed of an actual male active wrestler, I
Yeah,
feel like would be the first one that's going probably being called up before he should be. But at the same time, he's been there for what 2.5 years now.
I'd say so. And again, like on and on, like he had like the same kind of like Keith Lee. Like he would be there, but he wouldn't be on the like takeovers. He would be like featured on the NXTs that they filmed after the takeover in the same building. Like you would see him like probably once every 2 weeks, and then you would start seeing him a little bit more. Like they which I always like gave him credit on how they used to you know, cycle out their talent like that, because no one wants to see the same person on TV all the damn time. But yeah, you know, I was actually surprised that they were giving Bronson a look. I didn't know if that came from Vince or if that was like Triple H trying to push one of his guys that he actually thinks is ready. I thought it was a little early just based on the fact that he barely won gold for the first time, and then he lost it, I think, on his second defense against Swerve, which again I was surprised that they wouldn't do a rematch.
Right.
But they got him. I'm convinced he's on his way up. I mean, why does he need to go against Adam Cole? You know what I mean? It's like it's kind of like a cool little exit match type of thing. Yeah, I don't know, man. It's weird, like the whole Mandy Rose thing. But then, like, you know, I guess in the same vein of it, as far as people jumping brands, we can go to SmackDown, and Finn Balor's back, and he's back in the blue tights, which I've always hated. I hated when you ever like. I hate when guys dress based on what brand they are. I hate that shit. I'm just never. I never been a fan of that.
No, you're right.
Uh,
I have nothing. I have nothing to argue against.
like Finn, like, you know, like Finn could have. I don't know why they needed to have him in navy blue. Like he could. Well, we don't want you with black and red trim because you're on Raw. Oh yeah, tell that to Sami Zayn and all these other guys that's wearing all these goddamn colors. All the goddamn.
Can I throw something out there to you? And I feel like I'll try to make this quick. Is SmackDown has a ceiling though, and I think that's frustrating because Roman Reigns, whatever Roman Reigns is doing for the next whatever, Roman Reigns is the ceiling, which means you could bring in someone like Finn Balor, but what's he really gonna do?
Yeah, I was thinking the
That's
same
better than what he
thing.
was doing on NXT.
Yeah.
Whereas like if you brought him to Raw, at least there's a little bit of shuffle because like every month we're asking is
Who
Lashley are
yeah,
they
who's
gonna
the
keep the
next?
title?
Yeah,
Yeah,
who else is who's next for him? Yeah. And it's like
yeah,
which I guess that I would be remiss if I didn't bring up the biggest stupid ass rumor going on about that, but I'll say that for the predictions.
yeah. We'll bring that up.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because I was gonna say like I mean at least yeah with SmackDown or with Raw like you said at least they're always looking to see who the next guy against Bobby is, but with Roman it's like I feel like it was kind of like a statement being made that the fact that he interrupted Sammy, I'm like okay so we're going mid card route again. That's how
right.
I felt, you know. Um, though if they're gonna let him have the growth that he had creatively when he went back to NXT as being the Prince and that new attitude and the promo style he had, I could definitely see him like them saying, okay, we need someone else for the tribal chief to go against who would be kind of cool. Oh, the Prince versus the tribal chief. Okay, I could see that. He probably, you know, I don't see him winning, but at the same time,
Yeah,
I guess I'm waiting for the other shoe to drop on the difference in booking from what they did the first time out. Yeah, did they book them? You know, they booked him to be the first original Universal Champion. So yeah, there's a story there because he wants the belt back that he never lost, even though they changed the color of it, whatever. But at the same time, it's like you know, we kind of see what they're trying to do, like as far as a long term story, but you know, storytelling with Roman and I think a lot of people are I mean, dude, I mean, the one thing I did want to point out is the fact that they had that 6-man tag to open up SmackDown, first live show, you know, with fans.
hmm
I was like, oh shit, we're about to get the first like actual like fan reaction genuinely to Roman. And dude, they loved him. Like, I mean, you know, I feel
yeah.
like there was a lot of cheers. You could hear the boos mixed in, but it's nothing like all those boos he was getting, like, you know, freaking two,
And I
3 years.
really hope Vince doesn't overreact to that
Yeah. I
because
mean, yeah.
Roman's got a really good thing going, and I think it needs to at least last until they figure out what's going on with The Rock. And
Well,
then
from
if they figure if The Rock is not going to do anything, then I say like, okay, at that
yeah.
point, if you want to turn him face, I would hate it, but I can see
Yeah,
why
I
Vince would.
would definitely hate it. I've heard that Paul Heyman is the guy that's been writing all the stuff for Roman. Like he's which I was like, okay, cool. I mean, at least they've been allowing him his own little creative outlet where he's like, well, this is how I would say it in the character that I'm bringing to you guys, not the one that you guys didn't. Because that's the thing, he brought the idea, the concept, the outline of this heel character to them. They didn't bring it to him, so I could understand where like a Bray Wyatt where he's like, well, this is the Fiend and this is what I see we could do with him, and they're like, oh shit, I love it, and then they started having their own ideas about it, and it's like, no, that's not really what it stands for or what's in the the vein of what the Fiend means, yada yada. But
Now
that
that we have fans too, and I would say Brock Lesnar has a very iconic music, like a
yeah, true,
very
yeah,
iconic theme song. I wouldn't mind a storyline, especially in these next coming months, because these next coming months are really dry. And like basically SummerSlam to Royal Rumble is a very dry season for
yeah.
wrestling.
I mean, yeah,
Like I
it's
know
like
Survivor Series is in the middle, but we don't
no,
care.
I was just about to say it's like it's literally like the three like ones, the big ones, and then how we get to each one in between time. Yeah,
So I wouldn't mind a solid month to 2 months of Roman Reigns like legitimately just picking on Paul Heyman to the point where Paul Heyman just gets like, and then one time in the ring, Roman Reigns is like, maybe he's got his hands on him, and you just see like Paul Heyman laughing at Roman Reigns, and Roman Reigns like, what the fuck's going on? And then Brock Lesnar's music just hits.
that see
Like,
if they would do their due diligence and hire you, then yeah, that'd be great. We would that would be amazing. As far as if that's what they wanted. Everyone's been debating. So do we want Brock with the ponytail or Brock no ponytail? I'm like, I don't know.
I'll
We've
just
never.
just bring him with the ponytail,
I
totally
was
new
like,
look, baby face.
I was like, we've never
Uh,
seen that. We've never seen this new Brock before.
because the thing that SmackDown has that Raw doesn't have is SmackDown's not going against football in the fall. They
Yeah,
could
that's true.
still have viewers watching their product. Now, if Raw's down in the ratings because of Monday Night Football, fine. But like you can still make SmackDown good.
Yeah.
And
No, no.
I'll be
Yeah.
frustrated if they don't.
I mean, they've been doing a good job this most, I mean, I can't really think of a time that they've really dropped the ball throughout I mean, ever since they did this whole like new branding with the Fox thing and just the new graphics, the new cameras and stuff. They've like SmackDown's been kind of like their main constant outside of probably, NXT's been up and down for me personally as far as the booking. They've been way better on us the last couple months. But I got a hot take for you before we get into predictions. This is about someone we could probably care less about. Baron Corbin, right? I feel like the best thing they could do for Baron Corbin is to have him join the Alpha Academy. And the only reason I was thinking that is you think about how he was King Corbin and how he shitted on freaking Shorty G and called him, he gave him the name Shorty G, though he's not that anymore. I could see the irony of like him having to go to someone he really, shitted on in the past when he was on the, on the up and up. And, I could even see where it's like Chad, that's like, dude, what are you doing? Like, you need to bring out your inner out. Like he can, because the fact that Chad is like on that heel tip now and cocky, like he could totally do it. But maybe they tag him and Otis together. I don't know. I mean, I don't know.
I'm gonna throw this out there to you. Baron Corbin right now is doing his best work he's ever had in his whole career, and he's had a lot of characters.
Yeah, no, he is.
This is his best work, to the point where I was watching the promo from last night and I was like, oh, like I don't know if Vince realizes it, but this might end up being the second best thing on SmackDown behind Roman Reigns.
Yeah.
And eventually, and some weeks might be better than what Roman Reigns is doing. Because if they could keep this going, he should get a world title match at some point. Like I'm not saying that. I used to be like, oh man, Baron Corbin the world title picture. I don't want to see that shit.
Yeah.
But this basically broke delusional poor guy thing that they're having, and then eventually he's gonna get straightened up or he's gonna get better, and then we might get to the point where we're rooting for him.
I was gonna say they may have him actually to the point where he might get some sympathy and people might want to like see him. They're like, but it's funny because it'll come from a point like, please, man, we really want to see you get better. We just shave your head, please, man. If this is gonna help you shave your head, you know what I mean? Like, if this is gonna help you get rid of the grays, man. Like, I could see it where, if he could really have some people. But then again, whereas I could still see it, what happens after? You know what I mean? Are the fans still out, on him, or is he? I mean, it's easy for him to turn back on him. You know what I mean? So that part wouldn't be.
Well, I think this story could get to the point where it's kind of like. I don't know if you've been watching Loki, but the thing about Loki is that he's this evil guy and everyone thinks he's this evil guy, but he's trying to be better.
Yeah.
And then, but every time there's a moment where he has to choose to be good or bad, everyone doesn't trust him to do the good thing.
Yeah. Okay.
And I think with Baron Corbin, you could do that here, where it's like you put him in the Alpha Academy or do whatever, and then eventually he gets to the point where he's going to achieve something good. And you're afraid he's going to turn on everyone again. Like he's going to start going back to his old ways of being a dick.
See, I could see like if he's with the Academy and they want him to beat somebody down, and he's just like, no, I don't know. Like, and he's like, dude, I was low like this guy too. Like, I remember when everybody was beating me when I was down. Like, I could see him like out of nowhere having this change of heart, and everyone's like, whoa.
Or like, Gable's like, hey, put this dog food on this guy, and he's like, no, I'm good.
Yeah.
Like, I don't do that stuff anymore.
Yeah. You know what I mean?
It didn't get me anywhere.
It did get me. And look where I'm at now. I had to dig myself out of this ever since. I could see him all of a sudden having a conscience and all this shit. But I think it's about that time to do some predictions, man.
I was gonna say we're probably running behind schedule.
No, we're good. We're good. Okay. The only thing I haven't done is figured out my point system, but what I usually do, I don't know if you guys ever catch this, is I usually just copy Baca because I don't want him to win.
Well, I looked at Baca's predictions, and I don't think he's watching the product.
Well, I mean, one of the things that I was looking, I was like, okay, I may keep the same points, but I'm not going to keep that I'm not gonna keep that choice though. So because I gotta add a match here because originally I didn't have the Usos. They just added the Usos. So Usos versus Mysterios. Let's see. And how many matches are there? Was it 6?
Yeah.
Yeah, there was like the women's, both Money in the Bank, the tag match, and then the both title. Yeah. Or wait, hold on. Bobby and Kofi, Roman and Edge, women's Money in the Bank, men's Money in the Bank, Raw Tag Team Championship match.
Is the Raw Tag Team championship match on Money in the Bank?
Yeah, it is.
We didn't let the other guys know that.
Oh, I forgot that one. Yeah, you're right. That is.
We'll just not predict that one.
And then and then the wall. Yeah, so there's 7 matches. Well, there's 6 with the 7th one on the pre-show or whatever, right? So
I said we just won't predict the Raw tag match.
Yeah, that's fine. Let's see. Unless if anyone, let me see. Did we get predictions from Mac? Oh, we did.
Yeah,
okay,
we got
cool. Okay, so I'm more happy over that. Let me see. So Baca, Kwency, Brian, Mac. Cool. All right. So Usos versus Mysterios for the SmackDown Tag Team Championships. I'm gonna just go ahead and say that the Usos are gonna win. Let me get back to you on my points because there's 7 we picked. Yeah, 7.
So Mac and Baca gave the Usos 4 points, and I'm also going to give the Usos 4 points because
that sounds good.
If you think about it, it's not because I want to steal those points. It's because it might be the most outside of the main event, probably the most predictable match on the card. Now it's not that predictable. Yeah. But it's more predictable than the Money in the Bank and Charlotte versus Rhea. So
well, based on they just had that whole hey, we got Jay back, and I by the way, I love when Roman's like, yeah, like I told y'all, we could get the tag titles. I'm like, bro, you did not,
dude,
you did not want
Roman. Roman's so good.
Yeah, dude, that's why I was like, oh, this guy pisses me off, like for real. Okay, cool.
The only thing, to be honest, is if the WWE is just straight up like, you know what, like, although the story is saying we should have him get the tag titles, with Jimmy getting the DUI and stuff like that.
Yeah, I was wondering if that was gonna affect like I was thinking, I was like, maybe they already had the plans, but because of what's going on there, like, well, screw you guys, but I don't know. I was surprised to even see Jimmy on TV.
Mm-hmm. And to be honest, they don't need the tag titles to make the story work. I think it's just adding to the story. But you could also have them lose, and then that also makes like Roman Reigns go like, "Hey, you guys let me down." So the thing is, like, in my opinion, the Mysterios are such a boring team that like just give the titles to the Usos.
Well, I mean, the reason why I say screw the Mysterios is because they have not defended the tag titles in 30 days, which is always the rule, right? The last time they defended them, June 4th. Against the Usos twice in one night, but it's officially the 17th, 16th, 17th. Right. So it's like, yeah, y'all about 12 days late. So yeah, I'm gonna do Usos for 4 points. I guess we'll skip the Raw, unless they didn't. Okay, fuck it. I'm gonna hate it for all like tied, and that's the one match we didn't bet on, but that would never happen.
If you want, like during the pay-per-view, we could all
we could do that. We could. We know. I was gonna say we know it's not gonna open because I think the Usos are gonna open on the pre-show. So as long as we hit up everyone today, we could figure it out by tomorrow. Raw Women's Championship, Rhea Ripley versus Charlotte.
This might be more unpredictable than the Money in the Bank matches.
I'm gonna do Charlotte Flair for. I'll do Charlotte Flair for 2 points.
Damn, all right. Just to be clear, I already wrote mine down before.
Wait, do you see? No, I forgot. Like, are we gonna bet on if anybody cashes in?
We could hit somebody up before the pay-per-view.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, because I was thinking, I was like, well, shit, what if she wins but she gets cashed in on? It's like she technically doesn't win, right?
Right. So yeah, I have Charlotte for 2 points as well because my thought process is this feud sucks and we're going into SummerSlam. So I figured might as well put the title on Charlotte and have her
That's how I
do
felt
somebody
too.
else.
And so, what's his name? Oh, Mac had Rhea for 2 points and
Baka had Rhea for
for 3. I feel like he doesn't even like. If I were to ask him what Rhea's finish is, he couldn't tell me.
3.
He's like figure 4. Let me see. I guess you might as well go into the big matches. Ain't nothing else left. Oh fuck it. Women's Money in the Bank. We'll slow pitch it. Nikki Cross, Naomi, Asuka, Alexa Bliss from Raw versus Liv Morgan, Zelina Vega, Natalia, and now we know as Tamina. Which that
I feel bad because I watched the Wrestle Talk predictions and they did them like 5 days ago or something or 4 days ago, and one of them picked TBA, and just to find out that ends up being Tamina.
oh my god. I mean, like when I was doing the bets for the Charlotte Rhea match, my like with me and my brother, I was like, I feel like it's gonna be Flair, but she's gonna get cashed in on. And he's like, by who? I'm like, doesn't matter. I'm like, probably the person that we don't know. And I'm like, oh, Tamina would never.
If we're thinking long term story, technically my pick with 1 point, Nikki Cross or Nikki Ash, because she was the one who was getting all those bullshit wins on Charlotte and Rhea a month ago. Like it hasn't happened in the last month because she's been qualifying for this shit or having weird matches with Alexa Bliss. But I would
Yeah.
say, I would say like going back to last month's story, if Nikki won and then cashed in on them, I could see that kind of like I don't know. To be honest, the story just sucks in general. But my pick is Nikki Ash with 1 point.
Okay. I'm still picking mine. Mac had Zelina with 3 points. Baca had Oscar with 2. I'm see, okay. I was gonna pick Alexa just for the sake of like no one's even expecting it. But I'm like, that's what WWE likes to do, right? Otis, you know what I mean? Like with all that shit and like, oh, it couldn't be Alexa. I mean, with her current character, how would she handle holding a briefcase? And I'm like, because they would just make a new ridiculous looking briefcase just for her. You know what I mean?
Right.
The other thing I'm thinking it could be Oscar just because a year ago, from Money in the Bank, well, technically not a year ago, a year from the event, I guess technically. That's the last time we saw Becky Lynch, and Oscar, pretty much was given the title from Becky Lynch. So I was like, I could see maybe Oscar winning just to get like a face off with her and Becky. But then what? Did they have a match for the Money in the Bank briefcase and then Becky wins the briefcase, or
Oscar cashes in that night and then Becky shows up on Raw.
I could see that, yeah.
My thing is every Money in the Bank match ever has that safe pick, right? Where it's like we could give it to this person and they know it's going to be a credible win or a credible champion, and that's Oscar. Oscar's a safe pick, but she hasn't done anything in months, and she wasn't even doing anything when she was champion. And I do feel like, in my opinion, if we're looking at the people who I think they're trying to build up, it would be Liv Morgan or Nikki Ash.
Okay.
Now, I don't think these builds they have any weight.
Yeah,
but
towards like whatever future booking they have. Yeah.
but like for example, going back to Otis didn't have a lot of weight either, So like
Yeah, that was literally out of nowhere. The other thing I was thinking was the fact that Alexa, I'm gonna pick Alexa for 1 point, which I love that we all have a different person. Only because she's the only person in the match that's won a Money in the Bank before. I mean, outside of Asuka, who technically didn't win the briefcase, but she did, but didn't, or the contract, I should say. But I'm gonna go Alexa 1 point. We have the men's Money in the Bank. I'll go last on this one because I'm just torn between two people and they're on two different shows. That's why.
So Baca has Big E, Mac has Riddle, both for 1 point.
Big E 1 point. And then you said Riddle?
I
Riddle,
yeah,
really? Huh.
Mac has Riddle. I actually think it's between Biggie and Riddle. Like
I
going
was
back,
thinking more. I don't know why. Like I just think as far as like a story that they can do is like just the flip side of Morrison having the briefcase and having Miz be his sidekick with him in a wheelchair now. But
it's weird because like in my opinion, if you were to tell me John Morrison's debuting tomorrow, right? Like he hasn't been on WWE, I would have been like, you know what, he's a credible world champion if they ever want to go in that
yeah, true.
direction. He's won world championships everywhere else. But the way they booked him since he's been back,
Yeah.
he to me he just seems like he's gonna be there for flippy flips and ricochet spots. So
Hmm.
I and then going back to like how Asuka was for the women's match, I would say Drew McIntyre is the safe pick. Like if you were like, all right, you know, we need someone who's just gonna be credible when we finally do the cash in, right? Then you would say it's Drew McIntyre. I have a feeling Jinder Mahal is gonna get involved somehow.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, especially as a receipt for the motorcycle. Like, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it's. I mean, see now I'm torn between two people again. Now it's like Biggie and Rollins, but the reason why it's like, hey, Rollins doesn't necessarily need the briefcase to have the match with Edge. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
especially they already teased it on SmackDown, but I could see them also having a match for the briefcase at some point and Edge losing, just
Well,
based on Edge's history with the briefcase. But at the same
so
time, I'm like, I want to see Big E kind of get that spot because if you notice, I'm gonna say Big E. Only reason I say that's because I feel like they were doing some seed planting on SmackDown because he interrupted Paul during his promo, and
mm-hmm.
they've never crossed paths before, like on SmackDown. So, and a lot of people think, oh, what if Kofi wins? What if Kofi beats Bobby? Big E wins the Money in the Bank. They all celebrate, and then boom, Big E heel turn, and he
Well,
beats Kofi for the W Championship.
I'm not gonna lie to you, and I do think like that's a very solid SummerSlam program.
I mean,
Like
even him versus
Kofi
Bobby
versus
would
Big,
be pretty good too.
because like if we go, because we'll probably talk about it in a minute, is the Lashley match, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
And Goldberg. You could still do Goldberg versus Lashley without the title.
yeah.
So
I think
it's
if
probably going to
anything,
be for the title, but
people would be more accepting of it if it wasn't for the title, right? Like because I was talking to a buddy of mine. I'm like, dude, I know there's some genuine fans. I grew up during the Monday Night Wars, and I get it, the appeal when it was there. But I'm like, now I'm like, they bring him in for all these matches, these championship matches that he hadn't earned or deserved. Like he hop shots himself ahead of the line, and it's just like 9 times out
yeah.
of 10 he's beating the current champ for what? It's not. You can't tell me he's boosting viewership. You can't tell me he's boosting like anything. Like I mean,
And
no
and
one.
and, and I think this is because they probably couldn't get Brock.
Yeah, 100%. But I'm like, dude, like if I'm Goldberg, I'm like at some point you got to be like, yeah, but this just doesn't make sense. You know what I mean? Like,
And I don't think he has that because when the Fiend thing happened, he said like I can't lose to the bad guy, and like something about his son and some bullshit. Like
yeah, I remember
in my
that.
opinion, like you are so not involved in the product if you
Yeah,
really think like you should be putting over the most over guy. Just because the most over
yeah,
guy is not a baby face per se, and he wears a scary mask, doesn't
yeah.
mean that he should be putting you over. So
Yeah, it was like, dude, who is like, I don't know. It's like, dude, you're not like this isn't like Resident Evil, and you're just like
mhm.
you're like you're this isn't Ash, right? Like he's not Ash, and like he's gonna fucking like I don't know, dude. It's
So
gonna. Oh, but who'd you have for the Money in the Bank?
I have Biggie,
Biggie.
and
Okay, I'm gonna change
I
mine
do think like
for that 1 point
I have him for
or
3 points.
3 points. Okay, I gotta change my points because that's 2 pointer.
I want I think Biggie cashing in on Lashley or Kofi is the money situation, in my opinion. It's because the Roman Reigns feud would be good and it would be big per se, but I personally feel like him getting involved in the Kofi thing could add some tension to the New Day. And it doesn't mean the New Day necessarily needs to split up, but they could
But
have a tense brotherly feud.
I mean, it happens to everyone. They're the only ones that it hasn't happened to, right? I mean, and then you think about the fact that they just named them the number one tag team like
Mm-hmm.
on the list. So it's like it's still recent enough where they can like totally, it's kind of like when Dean Ambrose turned on like Seth the night that Roman had to leave. They can
Right.
still do something.
And a part of me wants the New Day to go down in history as the faction that never broke up too, because I think that would be unique to them. But at the same
Yeah,
time, like you said, it would be a money feud going to SummerSlam, and like you could even have it built like Big E's been doing his own thing already. Like he's like, you know what, like I'm used to not being with my friends. I'm used to not doing this, so I'm just gonna do this and not give a shit at this point. But you could even book it where like Xavier Woods is caught in the middle, and I think a really cool feud. So like, what to say?
that's true because it's like Kofi worked so hard until he got his championship, but that could be the case for all three of those guys. Yeah,
Because like the Kofi, this is if the WWE really wants to go into detail. This is maybe more of an AEW thing and a Roman Reigns thing, but I'm going to try it here. Kofi, based on this feud with Bobby Lashley, has been super involved in these principles of positivity and being with your friends, and like that wrestling needs to be more positive and all
yeah,
that.
yeah.
And Bobby Lashley's not that.
Not all. Yeah.
Kofi pulls the upset on Bobby Lashley. Big E cashes in on him. The next night on Raw, Xavier Woods approaches Big E. Kofi Kingston comes out, and Trouble in Paradise is Xavier Woods,
Oh
and,
shit.
and looks at him and says, "Hey, you need to be happy for your brother."
Hmm.
But then
That'd be
Kofi,
real interesting. Yeah.
but then Kofi turns to Big E and says, "But what you did was not what a brother would do."
Yeah, what brothers do. Yeah, I was about, yeah.
So he's standing by these principles with Xavier, but he's also standing with these principles with Big E, which could either set up a triple threat for SummerSlam or just Kofi versus Big E.
See, the only problem with that is they would waste that triple threat on a Monday Night Raw. I don't
Yes.
think they would book that on an actual pay-per-view, which would, I mean, that gives me the same vibes as like, oh, it's going to be DX versus John Cena in a triple threat. Like, wait, what do you mean it's DX versus John Cena? Oh, it's going to be Triple H versus Shawn versus Cena for the title. Yeah, but they're a tag team. Yeah, but you never know what's going to happen. And then
Right.
5 seconds into the match, super kick. I think that'd be great. Even the fact that they had like the Money in the Bank. Was it? I think it was 3 years ago where Ambrose won the briefcase, and then you had Rollins and Reigns in the main event, and then he cashed in on Rollins after he won. So it's like they've done certain like similar things before. I think that'd be honestly a great way to do it, especially because you'll get like Xavier, who they seem like they're trying to push a little bit more. They gave him the Hell in a Cell match against fucking Lashley, and then they gave him the win this Monday. So I could see it because Xavier doesn't need a lot to be invested into the storyline. He's already like kind of endearing to the fans as like the guy that is not always in the ring, but he has like he does all the shticks and he's like the biggest cheerleader for all of them. That'd be great. That'd be a great way to set that
Because
up.
Kofi
But
would have the big brother thing, like the
yeah,
older
yeah,
brother
because he's the
thing,
older one. Yeah,
and then Big E would have the I did it for
uh,
myself
yeah.
stuff
I'm
going,
I'm
and
my
then
own man. Yeah,
and
yeah. I
then
feel you.
Xavier, who even though I feel like they're all similar ages, maybe Xavier's even older than Big E. I have to look that up, but they kind of look at Xavier as maybe the little brother.
Hmm.
And I think like them kind of like pushing him to the side so Kofi and Big E could focus on each other, that could start frustrating Xavier. And a New Day triangle feud is a solid 3 to 4 months of stuff there.
100% because of the fact that the only thing is you would have a tag team not available for the division during that time with New Day being embroiled in their own thing, which I don't know how that helps Raw if at all, but they're not bringing in nobody new immediately, but we'll see what's going on with that. But
Real quick too, and if Riddle won, I think a really cool story would be Riddle wanting to cash it in on the tag team championships, but then Randy
So
Orton comes in and says, "Hey, don't be stupid."
yeah,
Like he
yeah.
mentors Riddle into winning the championship.
I think that'd be cool. Because okay, my thing is I've always had that thought. I'm like, wait, what if I wanted to cash it in on something else? Like, what if I want to be a mid card champ? I know it sounds stupid, but if the
Hmm.
champ is Brock, and I'm like, well, why the fuck am I? You know, I could wait a year for Brock not to be the champ, but that doesn't seem to be the case. But if I
Hmm.
could, if I see, fallen Sami Zayn who just won the IC title, can I just cash it in on him? Tag team title. I always wondered about the tag team title thing too. That's always been because the only person that really did something like that was Impact. They had the Feast or Fired match where they had,
Hmm.
I think, 4 different briefcases. One
Hmm.
had a pink slip in it, and the other 3 had contracts for titles, like the mid card, the
Yeah.
world, and the tag team championship, which was cool because if you weren't in a tag team at the time, you could build towards building one. Um, this I could see WWE likes to do things different when they want to, and do things like unique when they want to. So I've been surprised at the amount of features that Riddle has been getting. I could easily see him doing something like that for sure. Just to be like, well, hell, we never went down this route before when it comes to the briefcase. Let's try to see
Yeah.
how the fans react if it's a tag team thing. Um, but I digress because I know we got the last 2 matches here.
Yeah.
WWE Championship, Bobby Lashley taking on Kofi Kingston. It's funny because I got the predictions from the last show, and it's Bobby Lashley's written in for everybody. I just didn't know whether to leave that as your pick.
Yeah, it's Lashley, but it's funny because I want Kingston to win, but
So,
it's
yeah,
but with the Goldberg thing, I think if I didn't know about the Goldberg thing,
yeah,
I think
right,
I would have been like 75 Lashley, 25 Kofi, and the only thing from Kofi would be the Big E cash in as well.
yeah,
So
yeah,
it wouldn't be like just Kofi just wins,
yeah, exactly.
but
Some that plus something else, yeah.
but now I'm like, oh, it's probably like 95% Lashley, so he can face Goldberg at SummerSlam.
Hmm. So I put let's see, Bobby or Baka had Bobby for 5 points. I got Bobby for 5 points. Mac had
It,
Bobby for 5 points.
it's 5 points.
All
Did
right.
you give Big E 3 points or who'd you
Oh yeah,
switch
yeah,
around?
my bad. What did I put? Let me go back down. I think I gave him. Oh yeah, already. Yeah, I'll give him 3 points. I forgot I wasted my 3 point on Charlotte. And then
Uh,
last match, Universal Championship, Roman
Reigns.
Reigns versus Edge. Baki with Roman for 6. I got Roman for 6. Matt got Roman for 6. Same for you?
Yeah. Like since it's Money in the Bank, there's always tricky shit that could happen. The only thing I can see is if Edge really did finally pull it off, and then Seth cashed in on Edge, and then that set up their match for SummerSlam for the title, and then
Mm.
Reigns just goes against John Cena or some shit.
I mean, unless they want to do, no, we don't need another triple threat, right? Reigns, Rollins, and Edge in a triple threat.
If they want to.
I mean,
Uh,
they did just have the triple threat at Mania. I don't know if they want to do it again. I mean, they keep trying to make it like a WrestleMania esque SummerSlam, right? So it's like I guess they could if they wanted to, but
Or Seth cashes in on Reigns too. Like I think because if you think
yeah.
about it, Reigns is only gonna lose his title to a cash in, or in my opinion, it's going to be Seth Rollins. Because in my opinion, Seth Rollins is the only credible wrestler that they
Well, with
book
enough
as a main eventer.
accolades to do so, yeah. The only other
So
person, the only other 2 people that could beat him aren't there, and that's like Brock or Cena, right?
yeah.
Or I guess The Rock. If all people that aren't currently under contract. So yeah, I could see Seth, but at the same time, I don't know.
Well, you
I
could
was
have Edge beat Roman. Roman takes it out on Paul, and then Brock Lesnar versus Roman at SummerSlam for not the title. Just personal shit.
just personal shit, yeah.
And then it's Seth
Which
versus
which would
Edge.
be way better than the match they had for what was it, No Mercy when they were at Staples, where they were doing like where he caught him, where he had that whole situation where he forgot his promo. and
Mm-hmm.
fucking John Cena called him out on it. I'm like, this can be a whole different game if they decide to do another, war of words this time around. So I'm kind of excited for that. But you know what? Those are the predictions for Money in the Bank.
Do you think there's a cash in Money in the Bank?
Do I think anyone's going to cash in? And if so, who?
It doesn't have to be who, but like, do you think there's going to be a cash?
I think someone's going to cash in on the. I think the women's side. I think.
I think Raw, I was gonna say I think Raw really needs a fucking boost. I think they're gonna save it for Raw.
That means it had to be either Drew. Well, see, it can't be Drew then because Drew won't cash in. He'd have to cash in on Roman, based on the stipulations, because he can't challenge Bobby for the title as long as he's champion. So
Unless Kofi wins.
Yeah, it's true.
Which would be like super dick Drew, like, right? Like Dick Drew over there.
He's like, I know you don't like it, but I got a story about it. You like it. Back in the day, there was this old relic. It's like, oh, no, we don't need to hear you regale us with tales of fucking God. But yeah, man, that's been the predictions and the show this week. We'll see who walks out when the smoke clears as either still champion or new champion. Shout out to Mac Low, man. Definitely gonna check out Money in the Bank this weekend. I'm honestly more watching it not for my predictions to come true, just to see what they can give us from a fan perspective. Again, first pay-per-view with fans, so I'm excited for that. It's one of the big ones too. It's one of the ones we always get excited about.
Do you think before we go, do you think they're gonna save anything for SummerSlam, or do you think they're gonna go all out on this one and then SummerSlam is just gonna be SummerSlam?
It'd be smarter to give us a small taste to pump up sales towards SummerSlam, but I don't think they need it. I think that I don't know. I should say that, but they keep sending me emails about, hey, you want to go to SummerSlam? I'm like, I already got tickets. So why you keep asking me about it? I don't know. But you know what? Make sure you guys follow us, Flow Wrestling Show, Flow Wrestling Pod on Twitter and Instagram, respectively. Going to be starting up, I believe, a new SoundCloud page so we can actually get some the audio out there. I can upload it to you guys, and we can, find a place outside of YouTube. I know you guys love when we do the YouTube. The video is always great for us, but in case you guys are on the road, can't watch it, want to just stream it, we're gonna be on SoundCloud pretty soon. Shout out to, by the way, I want to give a huge shout out to Lex the Rapper. I know he's one of the resident beer tasters over there on Awkward Side Hug, but he did great. He had a great show last night. Crowd was really into it. He had a line about the Astros, which was odd. The crowd went crazy for. So he said, he said, girls are just like the Astros, always trying to ask me for my sign. And I'm like, oh, okay, I see what you did there, Lex. But yeah, it was cool. Diesel was putting over his not gun bars, but the arrow bars that he does in battle rap. So it was pretty cool. It was cool just to be out, man. Shout out to everyone that's opening up. Stay safe out there. This has been the Flow Show. Make sure you follow us. I'm Quincy Jones Go. Also follow Brian Andrew _ and Awkward Side Hug as well. Always doing their thing. Shocking, but Baca has no shows this week, so don't even follow him and check it out. No. But yeah, that's pretty much been the show, man. We're gonna sign off, and like I said, next week we'll figure out who's walking in. Predictions champ, $2 champ, and then also see what's going on when the smoke settles. We got crowds back, man. So hopefully they're gonna put out some quality programming on Raw. Wink, wink, hint, hint. But yeah, we'll be back next week, man. Until next time, it's been a Flow Show for the love of wrestling. We out.